JD Fantasy Football.
He is starting Geno Smith over Jordan Love, and I hate this on so many levels.
Then Joe Flacco comes in like he does, with his cape on.
Guys, welcome to JD Fantasy Football. This is the year and awards of JD Fantasy Football. 2024 season is over. What is going on, Jordan? How are you today?
I'm wonderful. It is great to be talking to you again, Dave. It's been a little bit of a hiatus. I can't blame Dave on that. I kind of went MIA when my wife won the championship, and I fell off against the infamous Josh Allen pick of the year. So happy to be back in and talking fantasy football to the end of the season. I forgot I should have worn my tux today for the award ceremony.
Yeah, no penguin seat needed today.
Nuded.
Looks like we've got Caleb out there listening today. What's up, Caleb? Well, I don't blame you for taking some time off. I also took some time off. I went on a dark retreat and took some ayahuasca. So I am back at it.
Just like your boy, Aaron Rodgers.
Right, me and Aaron connecting. Well, yeah, so just a little sum up. Yeah, Jordan's wife did win the championship. The season did not end without any drama whatsoever, and it went very peacefully.
It definitely wasn't the team who taken advantage of that won the league. I mean, definitely not that one. 100% wasn't them.
Yeah, it was drama free, which is super good. Yeah, so let's so today's episode is gonna be really chill. Just gonna go over our season awards and maybe look over a little bit what happened in the 24 season. We're gonna see. We got MVP, Rookie of the Year, Bust of the Year, Overachiever, Waiver Wire Wonder, and the Slow Cooker Award. We're not talking about pot roast. We are talking about people who had a slow start and then they got going quick. So let's start out with MVP today, Jordan. What do you say?
MVP of the year. I think there's only one and only person that everyone's gotta be a part of who is the MVP. And of course it's Lamar. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. It is going to be the one, the only Ja'Marr Chase. Dude was absolutely, now he did have 2 rough weeks at the beginning. All right. Then he just continues with 30 to 40 point games as much as he possibly could. Number 1 receiver in the league. You knew he was a game changer every time. I mean, let's be honest. For our league alone, we had what was his name? Finkel Einhorn, who was the number 1 seed, might I add, and he was the number 1 seed because he had Ja'Marr Chase on his team. Now, don't get me wrong. We could go a lot of Saquon Barkley. We could go a lot into some other people, but Ja'Marr Chase was the number 1 receiver and the number 2 scoring player in the league. If you look at the top 5, 6 scoring players in the league, 5 of those players are quarterbacks.
Right.
Somehow he beats 4 quarterbacks and is the number 2 scoring player in the league. No doubt in my mind, that was the pick of the year. And a guy who almost did not play this year as we thought going into drafts. So he probably dropped a ton in some drafts, and you got major value if you picked him up in 7, 8. Honestly, you got value if you picked him anywhere from 5 up.
I agree. I mean, I love Saquon. And you mentioned it. His one chink in his armor is he had a couple of bad games. Lamar Jackson is my MVP this year because not only is he dual threat, which is what you want in a quarterback in fantasy football, he just seemed to never have a bad game. Burrow, Allen, Saquon, they all had games under 10 points. Lamar was consistently great, and he helped a lot of. Just imagine if Caleb had gotten in the playoffs with Lamar. Just imagine
Dangerous.
Caleb. Yeah, but he was unable to put the rest of the roster together. But yeah, Lamar is my MVP. You could depend on him week in, week out, which is what you want. I mean, I was dealing with CeeDee Lamb, and it was tough to know what you were going to get out of him, especially in the beginning of the year. But yeah, Lamar, I would have loved to have that just automatic 15 plus points every week.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Great choices. Who do you have as your rookie of the year?
Well, I'm glad I get to announce my rookie first because it's Jaden Daniels. He was a QB5 overall when he finished. He was second in QB rushing behind only Lamar. And he had 25 TDs, throwing TDs, 6 rushing TDs. Washington can't make enough jerseys. He's the pillar of that franchise. I mean, he was expected to do well. He was 11th, 12th QB chosen this year. People wanted him in their lineups, but not this. They didn't expect this. He was absolutely special. Yeah, it made us all forget the Houston, Texas quarterback's name. Yeah, that's how good his rookie campaign was.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is no doubt in my mind. I don't think there's any argument for anybody who the rookie of the year is going to be. It's Jaden Daniels. Absolutely. He broke a rookie season record with 891 rushing yards, which, as you know, with Lamar Jackson, if you're getting that rushing yards and you're still adding 3,500 throwing yards, 31 total touchdowns, and only 9 interceptions. I mean, the dude is amazing. He's doing it all with just pretty much one receiver, right? I mean, Dwami Brown or whatever his name was is not getting, any look, or maybe even on the field on most cases. Zacchaeus was like a third option on the Atlanta Falcons, right? Zach Ertz, he was there, but he got replaced by Dallas Goedert. So essentially, right, he's doing it not with a ton of work. So I just don't think that how do you not have him here? He's a six overall scorer. As we talked, Jamar Chase kind of pushes him down. He's a number 5 QB. And he was picked. I got him, and I picked him up, as the 12th quarterback pickup in the league. So
right.
Awesome value there.
Yeah. So that's your rookie. Who's your bust of the year? This I'm excited for.
My bust of the year has to be the one, the only Tyreek Hill.
Oh, okay.
I think I could say some other ones. I think there's one specific that everyone wants to hear me say, and I think Anthony Richardson would have been too easy to go attack right now. But no offense, Caleb. But he's one of the biggest fantasy football, busts that you could have had. I mean, he finishes the season as wide receiver 21. He was picked up as a third round pick in our league. He probably was picked up in the third round in a lot of leagues, 3 to 4. Definitely didn't put it up. He was averaging 10.5 points per game. The people he was getting picked with were people, for example, CeeDee Lamb was with him, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase. I mean, he was posting lower than Jacoby Myers, who probably didn't even get in there. So you're just sitting there wondering what could have happened. Oh, one of the biggest, brightest stars the year before, and you go big on him thinking your receivers are covered. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially when he got arrested for speeding outside of the facility. He had a bad year all the way around. Just as a follow-up on that, what do you think he's going to do next year? Where is he going to land? And do you think that increases his draft status next year?
I don't know. I think he could end up on a team like the San Diego Chargers, which would be a dominating, nice little receiving core. It'd be nice for somebody who could catch the ball for Justin Herbert outside of Ladd McConkey. Yeah. But I don't know. I think that lowers his draft pick. I think he'll be a third round pick next year, even on that San Diego Chargers team. I mean, you can't blame everything on Tua, right? Like before it was like Tua's going to come back and he's going to be the same guy. Something happened where he digressed. I don't know what it was. If defenses figured it out, playing the 2 safety high might have affected it a little bit more. I'm not sure what it was, but I don't think it was all on the Dolphins, which is kind of unfortunate that the way he's leaving is I want out in a press conference in the week 18 of the year. So yeah.
Just let's throw the salary cap out. Is there a team that he could go to that could vaunt him back to the status of second, third pick in the fantasy draft? I don't think so.
I think there's one team that could do it. Kansas City. Just go back to Kansas City.
It's because we know he does well there.
Yeah, we know Patrick Mahomes and him know how to do it. Or you know what? Maybe the Washington Commanders.
Okay. That would actually be very interesting. Yeah.
Go to a team that might even make the Super Bowl this year. You know they're a winning team. They have the salary cap because they are paying their rookie quarterback on a rookie contract. Time to go there. Go to the other side of, you go to the other side of, what's his name? McLaughlin?
Terry McLaurin.
Scary Terry's what I've been calling him this year. So, I don't know. Maybe the Washington Commanders could put him up. I don't think he'll be a top 5 pick, but maybe that still keeps him in borderline that first round.
He wants to win, so I know he doesn't want to go to somewhere where they're not like the Raiders or something where they'd pay him, but he wouldn't be able to perform. So that'll be interesting. So my bust of the year, and I think this is more of a psychological pick. Like, I think a lot of people, like, even in the middle of the season, were like, yeah, you got to hold on to Tyreek. I mean, he might break it. But this man broke whatever fantasy team he was on. This was Travis Etienne. He was drafted 16th overall average this year. And for what he produced, it was just flat sad. He averaged 5 fantasy points a game. He had a negative point game. He just psychologically destroyed his fantasy owners. He was killing his fantasy team week in, week out for what we expected and what we got out of Travis Etienne. Absolute disaster. And I think he can come back from it, but we forgot about him. That's how bad it went. And he was drafted on average 16th overall.
Jacksonville forgot about him sometimes, so they just kept Tank Bigsby in, and I think the coach of Doug Peterson finally turned around and was like, oh, that's right, Travis, you're still here. Yeah, get in there, bro. I don't know, that's definitely a great pick. He definitely screwed a lot of people over on that. So
Tank Bigsby definitely on that rookie of the year radar for a lot of people.
Absolutely. I do want to have some honorable mentions because, 2 of them are pretty horrific here. Breece Hall.
Yeah, that's true.
Yikes. He was a close second for me. I had Breece Hall's name in there, and I was like, I remember Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill kind of did the same thing as Travis Etienne. Well, Travis Etienne, at some point, you were just like, I don't know if I can play this guy. Tyreek Hill was just mentally just screwing people. It's like, I should play this guy every week. And you did, and you kind of got screwed out of it. So my last honorable mention, this one's for my wife, Christian McCaffrey. What a bust. What a busted number 1 pick. I think that would have been an easy one to kind of cop out on because obviously he wasn't healthy ever throughout the season. He didn't play very many games. And you know what? That's why I'm proud of my wife. Your first round, first pick. You didn't pick until the 24 after that. And somehow you still came out as champion without Christian McCaffrey for 90% of the season.
Well done. Well, I think that's actually a really good point. And I think that the 49ers did a disservice to all fantasy owners everywhere, pretty much all year, releasing very little information about anything at any time. Just leading people on, hey, he's going to be back when how many games do you think he actually played and played well?
I think 4? It was like around, 4. Played well, probably 3.
Yeah, it was like, I feel like the 49ers did everyone a disservice and their own fans a disservice by the way they handled that PR-wise.
Absolutely.
You got a few commercials, though.
Yeah, hey, I've seen him in a few commercials. Definitely, and it's not saying much, was definitely a better actor this year than he was an actual player this year.
You did get to hang out with McConaughey, so that's pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, it's true.
Who's your overachiever, man? Who did better than you thought? Comeback player of the year. Who wasn't?
The comeback player of the year? I think obviously Sam Darnold's the comeback player of the year if we're going to go into some of those aspects. But, I think this is kind of, and I would love to talk a little bit more about Sam Darnold here because my comeback player of the year is Jaden Daniels. And I know that's a cop out because he's my rookie of the year or not comeback, overachiever of the year, basically, where he was drafted. He essentially to become that kind of quarterback who scored so many points, and you got him, at such a discount. But Sam Darnold, I mean, dude came in seeing ghosts, right? That's what he was known for, is being on the Jets, talking about seeing ghosts. And, now it's official. The New York Jets program is just absolutely awful. And they need to do what the Washington Commanders did: get rid of ownership, get rid of your general manager, get rid of your coach, get a rookie quarterback that can help you out, because that whole organization is bad. But Sam Darnold was amazing this year. I mean, he was at one point for quarterback one. I mean, he kind of fell down towards the end of the year where he wasn't absolutely being studly. But I mean, the guy was, an overachiever. You probably picked him up off the waiver wire. So.
Yeah, he spent, and that is my overachiever. He spent most of the middle of the season as a top 10 quarterback, which for where you got him in the draft and what he produced, that is exactly, he is like the model for why you don't pick a quarterback early in any fantasy draft, is because, look, you can get an RB2, RB3, and you've got Sam Darnold overperforming with the Vikings. So, yeah, that's...
Absolutely.
I wanted to put Joe Flacco here. I really did. but Sam will have to do.
Well, here, just for an example, probably quarterbacks that got picked over him. He did better than Patrick Mahomes. He did better than Kyler Murray. He did better than Brock Purdy, Geno Smith. I mean, people were picking Caleb Williams in the draft before they were picking him.
Yeah.
He was literally only like maybe 1 point away from Jalen Hurts. Bo Nix is still up there, Jared Goff. So, I mean, he is in the range of a lot of players that you pick super early. If you didn't pick Lamar Jackson early or Josh Allen early, there's really no other quarterback that was worth picking up that early, this late. I mean, once again, we could go back to the bus, but Anthony Richardson was like the fourth quarterback off going in the third round.
Yeah.
Dude was terrible. Anyways.
Yeah.
Bashing Anthony Richardson. I guess.
I love that. But I thought you brought up a really good point. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to sit and be like, watch a Josh Allen, watch a Lamar go off the board, and then be like, okay, 7th round, I'm going to pick the right. I'm not going to pick Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to pick Sam Darnold for no reason. Like that, I think he overachieved for sure. All right, so I'm going to go with waiver wire wonder. So this guy, I didn't even know his name, and I was ashamed to this whole podcast because I didn't know who he was. But Tyrone Tracy Jr., he surprised the tar out of me. But he wasn't just like a backup running back that came in and filled a role. He almost took the job. He was a top 15 running back when the number one guy was out. He had 5 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving. And honestly, I can't wait to see what he does next season. So I think was it Skip that picked him up? Did Skip?
Yeah.
Skip got Tyrone Tracy, and it ended up being a really good pick for him. So
yeah, absolutely. My waiver wire wonder is going to be the man, 2-letter first name, Bo Nix. He had a slow start to kind of begin the year, but I mean, dude is still one of the top 7-8 pickups, are quarterbacks in the league. If you stuck it out with him past, week 4 or 5, he was starting to put down 20 points. The thing about Bo Nix, he was the 12th highest point per game per player in the league. Once you add him off waiver wire, he had 29 touchdown passes, which was the second most by a rookie in NFL history, trailing only Justin Herbert, who had 31 scoring passes in 2020.
Wow.
He did become the only rookie quarterback in league history to post multiple outings with at least 300 passing yards, 4 passing scores, and a passer rating of at least 140. I mean, you get him off the waiver wire. Once again, him, Sam Darnold, all perfect examples of why you do not go super early on a quarterback, because people like this do happen every year.
Well, and he was a rookie that, I mean, he's an older rookie. No one knew exactly what to take from him because we had just watched the Broncos last year struggled with Russell Wilson. We didn't expect him, but he also achieved what he achieved in the face of a lot of drops. They had a ton of dropped passes, so he could have even done better if his receiving core had been better, which is crazy to think about.
Outside of Cortland Sutton, he's throwing to Valet, right?
Vele,
Valet, and who else was? I mean, what was his name? There was another quick guy that was out there. I can't. It's not crossing my mind.
Mims
Jr. Yep. So those were who he's throwing to. Let's even make matters better. His running game was trash.
Yeah.
Like he had no right being good this year. He had
Right.
no right being good this year, and he did come out well. Once again, I picked him off the waiver wire myself. Ended up using him as trading bait because Jaden Daniels was great. But yeah, Bo Nix, what a guy, what a pickup, what a year.
I love that, man. I love that. So I'm going to finish off. Well, you give me your slow cooker award. Who's your slow cooker award?
My slow cooker award. If we did awards and I didn't mention this guy, just to strictly, I'm not going to say piss off any specific players who thought I ripped any certain people off on certain things. But if we want to go ahead and go into the dirty details of such scenarios,
Yeah,
my slow cooker's got to be Mr. Josh Jacobs.
Ooh.
Within the first 6 weeks of the league, he did not score any 20-point games throughout the whole first 6 weeks of the year. He did not have, I think he had just as many touchdowns as Deebo Samuels up until his bye, which is 3. And then only continued after that to get nothing but 20-point games outside of 3 weeks for the rest of the year. He had multiple 3-touchdown games throughout that process, and it dominated. And the Packers ended up at some point, after week 6 or 7, we're like, hey, maybe we just run the crap out of Josh Jacobs and just use him a ton. And, we'll get it to our receivers on an aftermath. So Josh Jacobs has got to be my slow cooker. Guy tore it up, after his bye in week 8, I think it was, or week 6 or something like that. He was dominant.
Well, that kind of turned the Packers season around. The Packers didn't look like they were going to beat the Bears. That looked like they were going to be the 4th team in that division until they started feeding Josh Jacobs. And boy, are they grateful they did. He absolutely killed it, both for fantasy and for the actual team. My guy is Brian Thomas Jr. And all that needed to happen for Brian Thomas Jr. is they needed for their quarterback to get hurt. And then here comes Mac Jones, starts feeding him the ball. He had a stretch of 4 touchdowns in 3 games. The Jags have got to get this guy going earlier next year, and he became a really solid receiver for probably the last, I don't know. I mean, they took several teams to the brink at the end of that season. The Jaguars were a problem team at the end of the year. So part of that was because Brian Thomas really started doing some things. So yeah, that's my slow cooker. He did not have a good start. He was not getting the ball, and at the end, he's looking good for next year.
Man, I have to tell you, this rookie class was absolutely phenomenal. There is an honorable mention I did want to mention, which is Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
Bucky Irving had, first few weeks, they were so headstrong, and I think he ended up getting injured too. So they were so headstrong at playing that backfield. But as the year came on, you saw Bucky Irving become more and more primary, and you saw, wow, this guy's the real deal. It would not surprise me in this offseason if Rashid White is let go, and they're going to use Bucky Irving strictly as that starting running back, and he will succeed there. But you have Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Bucky Irving, even players like Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors. I mean, some of the busts, Marvin Harrison Jr. was part of that whole section, but still, there were so many talented rookies this year that it was insane. So, Brock Bowers, who could forget the number 1 tight end? I mean, that's an honorable mention for, right? Like an overachiever right there as well. So, Yeah, this rookie class was phenomenal this year, and I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to be the same this upcoming draft.
Can't say enough about Malik Neighbors, who was throwing him the ball, and he still had a phenomenal season. Yeah, imagine put him with a Jaden Daniels, put him with someone who wants to feed him the rock, and he's just gonna, tear it up.
It's funny because my wife had no right winning the championship in the mere fact that, like, why was Drew Lock all of a sudden becoming freaking, Peyton Manning in a week that you need to lose to secure the #1 draft pick, and that's the championship game for my wife. All of a sudden, it's like, fuck, screw it. Let's get Malik Neighbors 50 freaking points this week, and let's go win this game, blow this Colts team out by, score 50 points. The one time we're going to score 50 points in the year is the time we probably should just lose. That's the Giants organization in a nutshell, though.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned, the Chargers receiver Ladd McConkey, but Quentin Johnston couldn't catch his gloves, and they were attached to his hands. Like
Yeah.
it was a rough year for their receiving core. Between Disley and McConkey, that was all they really had. So yeah, the rookies, can't say enough about them this year.
No, it's a fantastic year for rookies. So it's gonna be really interesting to see the draft. Just kind of side subject on this whole thing. The Giants fall to pick 3, and I think they're actually going to get the best quarterback out of this draft. Still, I think Cam Ward's going to go #1, and they're going to get Sanders, who I think is a better talent than Cam Ward is. So somehow it didn't hurt them to win that game because they're probably actually in a better spot, or going to get the same player they probably would have picked if they were #1.
Yeah, and I like that, especially now that we know that Daddy Sanders isn't going to be the coach of the Cowboys.
Unfortunate.
That dials down the drama just a little bit so that he can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the Giants are built to win if they can just put a few things together. They're not far.
I think it will be fun to see Sanders and Malik Neighbors playing together. I think that's going to be explosive. I think it's going to be a good time. There's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for Sanders, but when you have a guy like Malik Neighbors that you could throw to, you're going to be okay.
Sanders could not get sacked more than he did at Colorado, so he might be excited for some sort
at
of
New York. I don't know. You might you might rethink that comment. Let's see whether it looks like the end of the year.
It's got to be less. It has to be a little less.
Well, I mean, look at I think Danny Dimes was a bad quarterback, but he got some slack for running for his life on every single play. So it's going to be interesting to see. I agree with you, though. Colorado's offensive line was absolutely tremendous.
He was getting destroyed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we wrapped up the year pretty good, man. Any other thoughts? I mean, your wife has the trophy there in the house now, I assume.
Not yet. We're going to be moving back to Utah in April. I think he was still waiting for the sticker. So we're probably just going to have him keep it. And it's funny. My wife made the joke. She's like, I'll just have Cameron take it. And that way Cameron can feel what it's like to have the trophy for a minute. And then we'll go take it from him once we get back there in April. So
nice.
We're going to get the trophy. Super excited for her, though. She placed last place last year.
Oh.
She got the #1 draft pick this year. That draft pick did not play 90% of the season. Through diversity, she had me on her, just taking players off her team, and she ends up still winning this championship, which is absolutely amazing to see.
Well, good for her, man. If Taylor had played his normal quarterback, I would have played last in the league, but I got second to last because he decided not to update his lineup.
Let's go.
So at least I have that to my advantage.
Well, I think, and this might be something to talk to Skip. I think it's got to be the last place team when the season ends. I think the playoff thing is, I mean, I know you want to play for something, but it's like you win this week and then you lose the next week and then you're playing for last place again. I think if you won the first week, then you should, I mean, there's no reason you should have to win 2 games not to be in last place.
Yeah, especially with us not being able to like pick up players off the waiver wire like that. I half my lineup was out. I didn't have
Yeah.
anyone left. So
I'm not pick. I didn't pick after the week 1. I didn't pick. I think I picked up a kicker. Because my kicker was on the IR, and I picked up a kicker like literally last second. Because I was like, all right, everyone pick up who you want. I'll take whatever scraps, but I'm not going to sit here and just watch my team. I want to see what would have happened. So yeah. But that's all I got to say about the year.
all right, man. Well, let's if you follow this podcast at all, we're on TikTok very frequently. We're gonna go over there on TikTok and strike up some conversation. But yeah, thanks, guys. Next time, JD Fantasy Football.
Loved it. Great episode.
I think we